Hey guys, and the end, spoken table, my friend, the amazing and stupendously busy Natasha Tingle. I still don't know how Natasha manages what she manages, but we're on to part two now, which can read some of the poems. Just take it away, my friend.
The first poem I've picked for you is a mental health one. So I have psychosis and I hear voices. And some people think that means I've got like an evil voice telling me horrible things, and I'm going to go and do something terrible. And it is kind of like that for some people, but my voices aren't quite like that. So this is my experience of hearing voices. Who are you? And what do you want? And how can I help? Pre-imperturbation, preemptive reverberation, a deep voice echoes high, an aphasic Hopi soloist, spirit warrior, witch doctor, and I don't understand. She lacks lyrics, she mumbles at the mic, she drones out half a duet. Tone and rhythm alone allude to imperatives, superlatives, negatives. I strain my temples, I strain my temporal lobes. My forehead is a little numb. I address him, her, dutifully, persistently, politely from my list. Who are you and what do you want? And how can I help? Today she unhears my harrowing, just as her unhearable counterpoint ululates unheard by me. Who are you and what do you want and how can I help? And today I'm the irrelevant noise, while she takes over my world and fills it with irrelevant noise. Who are you and what do you want? And how can I help? And today she turns on me and screams until I screech gruff Black Album tunes to the hum coming through the never. Who are you? And what do you want? And how can I help? Then today, the strands of sound tune in like a radio, as if all this time I only had to turn a dial, and the interplay of static morphs into words morphs into a voice bearing words. Who are you? I ask. And how can I help? And what do you want? I am child suppressed, teen oppressed, adult distressed. I want to waylay your normality, to load up your work, to weave in your dreams. You can inspire and shout, disturb and defy, aspire and achieve. All for me, he, she, we, all for you, old you, new. I am what you refuse to be, and together, he and she, together we are me.
Fantastic. What a great start there, Natasha, that one. What I loved about that was I could really see you actually holding that one down the microphone there on stage straight away. But it's one of those few pieces I think I could really transcribe well on page as well. Was it quite a tricky piece to write that? Because we've been a bit of a longer piece. It would took me some while to get that right, I think.
I think what happens is that I'll have an idea in my head that will just be bumbling around for ages, and then I'll have some kind of trigger to write it, a prompt or something to write it, and then it will just flow out. So it could be months in the writing process, but when I write it, it doesn't take long to get it down on the page.
Yeah, nice. It's a good way of doing it. That sometimes, yeah. Amanda does this sometimes. I know my friend Jeffrey Armour does as well. He can have, Amanda's the same. They both can have pieces brewing around in the head. And when it comes out like a machine gun bullet. It's basically blasting out. I'm the other way around. I take forever writing pieces because I'm off jamming it around trying to get the right images right for even start. Not always the best ways. No, but anyway, listen, tremendous stuff. So, okay, less of me, more of you. Back to you for point number 2.
I've called this one Dear Life. And this I wrote, this was actually a commission. A friend of mine wanted me to write a poem about the change I spoke about and how I am now, where I am now. So this is about that. Dear Life, I have a magic wampum belt. Put me through what you will. You have a penchant for whitewater rapids, but I sail in a ribbed Canadian lake canoe. Whatever lies below me, I dip, and swing. Dear life, so many times the path you set me down was danger-ridden, the plunge pool of an avalanche of sorrows. But you also made me a giant who stood out of the snowy rubble like a Banks child after a chim-chim-cheree, no more harm than a powdered hat and a sneeze. Dear life, I thought you were trying to kill me. I struggled with your broken bridges, your snakes, your lightning strikes. I was hurting, I was grappling, I was an angel without wings. But, dear life, I know you a little better now. I understand you were guiding me down a course meant just for me. One only I could survive. One that would make me strong. When I trust you, things go wild. When we collaborate, when I tolerate bites, pain, and 300 million volts, I grow wings. I never imagined this constant starburst of energy and compassion pouring out of my heart, upholding my nearest and dearest, an energy that can be drained, but like Caridwen's cauldron, my awen is refilled the next day. I'm that awkward canoeist that won't stay in the boat with their arms tucked in, not since I know this is a thrill ride, not a death wish. Dear life, now I have a Haudenosaunee wampum belt of peace with every nation. And now I have the cauldron of poetic inspiration. And now I have the wings that beat with the heartbeat of God. I can rise from the chaos of learning and the pangs and pains of birthing as creator and speaker of words of hope as Natasha.
Stuff. I love the refrain in that way, going about you dressing it like a letter and you're going back to that point of dear, 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 because you're giving yourself that space to let the poem breathe before you come back to the next part of it. And that's really, really like a refrain, really well done. And I do like as well the end of it where you give it like going back yourself at the end of it. It's giving it that sort of real personal touch. Again, was that quite a tricky piece to write that? Because I can imagine that had been stewing on your head for quite some time, that piece.
Yeah, part of it was because I changed my name to Natasha, and that name change, I picked Natasha because of two parts. It's not Natasha as in, I mean, it has other meanings as one name, in Russian and in Arabic. But the reason I picked it, two name parts, Nata and Asha. Nata is a Native American name part that means speaker or creator of words. And Asha comes from Sanskrit, it means hope. So to me, I picked that name because I am the creator and speaker of words of hope. And so trying to explain the journey that I'd been on, ending with that name. And that's why it ends with, as creator and speaker of Words of Hope, as Natasha. So it's that same like process of how do I explain these things, and those artifacts as well that I mentioned, the wampum belt, the Ceridwen's cauldron, and then the angel wings. Those are all kind of like symbols from different cultures that have similar kind of meanings. So yeah,
I agree. Fantastic stuff. Okay,
not involved.
now you've just educated us. Give us the finale then. Over to you for the big finale, for your third and final piece today. Take it away, Mary.
So this is my most recent poem, and it reflects this change in speaking for people, amplifying people's voice. And so most people don't know this, but 4% of the human population protects 80% of our biodiversity. And those are the same people. They tend to be small indigenous groups, and they are fighting off loggers and miners and farmers, all trying to fell their habitat to create commercial enterprises. This is a post-apocalyptic piece. It's called Indigenous Inheritors. The universe peers into our world through star-shaped holes in the sky. I've heard of stars. They are perfectly still, and yet they dance. I dance joyfully back to her as she gazes at me. I am her, she is me. I was born of stardust, lived in Big Bang plasma, shaped of apocalypse dust, dust, dust. I stand a witness. Generations carrying generational trauma will thank me. Despite it all, I survived, and now so must they. Their gratitude will give them strength. The sky bears witness also. She watched my oppressed ancestors, saw what was done to us, how we 4% stood fast until miners and farmers felled the rainforests, locked us into ever smaller cells of land, and finally, as an anthropological marvel, locked us into living museums. And the universe, she looked on, and the universe, she sucked in her breath, pulling oxygen out of our skies, killing crops, collapsing mines, flattening every building in the ensuing wars. My people were of the land. We took joy and sorrow into exile, oral stories held in our hearts beside love. Now we climb out of ourselves and venture forth. Still the 4%, but with the other 96 gone. The universe has exhaled, gifted us back the world we care for. So we dance like the stars in the sky we've never seen and resume our posts as guardians of nature.
A great piece to wrap up with today, Natasha. That's really, really strong stuff. Again, that was been a great session today. Really great session. That. Have you found then? I'm always of the opinion when you read out your latest piece, like it's, and I know I'm like this sometimes. Until you're like, when you write a poem, like you write a poem like that, you're thinking, how the heck am I going to beat that with my next poem I write? Because like you put yourself up for competition, aren't you, all the time, trying to keep pushing yourself.
I do want to push myself, and I do want to do well and develop and learn different skills. But for me, I'm kind of the opposite of most writers. A lot of writers are very not, what's the word, self, like they're not confident in themselves. Whereas when I write, I'm like, I just wrote the best poem ever. And then I read it back a few weeks later. I'm like, oh, that needs some improvement. And then when I'm done with it, I'm like, I've written the best poem ever. And then again, like I'll leave it for a bit and want to tweak it again. But the next poem I write, I'm like, I've written the best poem I've ever written. So even if it's not a good poem, I always have that feeling. So I don't worry about that. And I don't worry about other people's reactions to it or rejection. I don't fret about that stuff. I'm just like, I wrote something I'm proud of, and that's good enough for me.
Best way to be. Best way to be. You always say you always got to write for yourself first of all. And I'm always definitely putting it as a bonus if somebody else loves it. So agreed. So anyway, thank you again, Natasha, today.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been really fun.
Been brilliant fun today. To get you back on again, definitely in the future when you're ready, when you've got another 200 projects you want to share with us. So, anyway, thank you again, Natasha. Seriously, hang around for a minute. I do need to speak to you off microphone anyway. But anyway, guys, girls, yeah, that's it for another day today. We shall be back next time with Spoken Label. As Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe and stay over. See you all next